Hey, my name is Sharon, and this is my animal room. In this humble 5 square meters of space, I keep a few different kinds of fish and reptiles. So if that's something that you're into, please hit the like button and relax while I'll give you a tour of all the enclosures that I have in here. Even though this room is very small, I think it'd be wise to first give you guys a little overview. We'll start up here with the first enclosure I ever built from scratch, then work our way to the right, then we'll go down a level, work our way back to the left, go over this little guard here, then we go down another level, go behind all these doors and work our way to the right, and we finish with what's in that bucket. The best way to start off this video is with this enclosure up here. This is the first enclosure I ever built from scratch and it houses my Crested Gecko Tito. As of now, Tito is around 8 months old and I've had him ever since he was 1 week old. Back then he weighed about 2 grams, which is about half a sheet of paper. Unfortunately, I can't show him to you right now because he's hiding during the day. Because if you don't know, Crested Geckos are nocturnal, which means they're active during the night and they sleep during the day. But I can assure you he's doing just fine and he should be full grown around spring or early summer. As for the enclosure itself, it's doing really nice. All the plants have established, they're growing very nicely. There used to be a Schefflera back here, but unfortunately it died off. I plan on replacing it with something because it's quite a big open space here, but I'm not really sure what I want to put there yet. And that's about it for the first one, so we move a little bit to the right, and we got our Carnivorous Fishbowl. This setup is filled with moss, some lava rocks, and all the way in the front you can see a crypt. There used to be 2 trumpet plants back there, right there and right there. You can still see the remains in there, but as you can tell, they have died back quite a bit. Now this is a species of plant that does hibernate, so I'm not really sure if the plants just died or are just going in hibernation, but I guess we'll find out in the spring. Next up we have this bad boy back here. This is the mini jungle, which is doing just fantastic. As you can see, all the mosses are thriving in there. There's a little bit of mold over there, but that'll pass. The only little downside to this setup is this right here. This creeping fig has a little bit of yellowing going on, but nothing too major, so I guess it's just some acclimation shock. And overall, this setup is just doing wonderful. Moving down a little bit, we have the teeny tiny terrarium. And this setup is also doing fantastic. I mean, there's not much going on in here since it's just moss. But the moss seems to be doing mostly fine. Right here we have a little bit, let me shine a light on it, a little bit of browning going on. But that was to be expected. I think it just has a little bit too little light. By the way, this setup and the Carnivorous Fishbowl will both be receiving their own light very soon. So I'm thinking about moving some stuff around in here and making a shelf for all the setups that don't have a light just yet and putting a single LED strip above all of them. But we have more stuff to cover, so we need to keep going. Right here we've got the Blue Dream Shrimp Aquarium. And this tank is very messy at the moment. There's some blue algae, there's some blue algae, there's blue algae. There's blue algae all over this wood, there's some blue algae back there. It's all over the tank. On top of that we have a lot of green spot algae. We've got some brown algae back there. But other than the algae, the tank is doing pretty well. You can see all of the moss is growing pretty big. Some of the Java Fern is doing well. On top of Blue Dream Shrimp I have a few Amano shrimp in there. A couple of snail eating snails. I got 4 Chili Rose Bora in there. And since a couple of weeks it's also kindergarten for the guppies. This is the oldest guppy I have in here. And right next to it is the youngest guppy I have in here. They're all babies from this tank, but we'll get to that later. So I'm actually planning on redoing this entire scape, get rid of everything, clean it out very thoroughly, take out the filter I built in there, and just make something entirely new in here. But that's all for the new year. Moving on, we've got the Amano Mountain over here. This setup is doing pretty decent. The Reptile in their bag is growing pretty fast. The hairgrass is doing fine. The only downside is that our little Amano friend has unfortunately died. I did use some pre-cycled substrate and let the tank sit for 2 weeks prior to adding the little guy, but I think the water parameters between these two setups were just a little bit too different, and I just shocked him too hard by transferring him so quick. So that's clearly my own fault. Now if I take a few steps backwards, you can see I have 3 pretty big setups behind it. The first 2 I got here are both 45 liter aquariums. I managed to get these 2 for free, which is really nice, but I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do with them quite yet. So if you have any suggestions, please let me know in the comments. I was thinking about maybe converting them to terrariums, you know, silicone a few strips of glass on the top and the bottom, add a door, and then maybe keep something like a tree frog in there. Or I've also read that this should be enough to keep a red-eye crocodile skink in there. Feels a bit small to me, but I guess it could work. As for the face, that's back here. I know exactly what I want to do with the face. I plan on starting that project in a week or 2, so the video should be out by late January, early February. And that's about it for the top row, so let's move down a little bit. And right here we have the ultimate guppy breeding tank, which is working. It's working. You can see that the plants are growing, but not as fast as I said they would. Well, here are 2 strings that are just growing really fast, but that's about it. All the other stuff around there is just sad, just dying. The only plants that are truly doing great are this Hybrophilia, this Rotala, and the crypts that are in between there. So I think I'm just gonna replace this part with some new plants, maybe some more Rotala or something, I'm not quite sure yet. But other than the plants, the fish are doing really great. They're active, they're exploring the tank, there's minimal aggression, and I plan to keep these guys in here until around spring. By that time the babies up there will be big enough so the parents won't hurt them. And then I'll be able to put all of these and all of those in the turtle paludarium. This setup already has 2 guppies in there, both males. But the absolute star of this tank is of course Koa the turtle. She's just so adorable. Every time I'm in here she comes to the glass begging for food. And overall she's just a goofball. And alongside the fish and the turtle there are also 2 Amano shrimp in here. There we have one of them. These guys are a great addition to this tank. I was a little bit nervous about adding them because I thought Koa would definitely try to eat them. But for now she leaves everyone alone in this tank. So I think I might add a few more Amano shrimp to help with all the algae that's building up in here. And overall, I have to say, this might be my favorite setup. I can just sit here and look at this for hours. It's just magical to me. But this tank isn't all sunshine and rainbows. Near the top of the tank I keep struggling with mosses drying out. So what I plan on doing is getting some kind of misting system installed to spray everything down once a day. Which should make this the perfect setup. But moving on, right next to it we have this door, which for now isn't anything too crazy. It's just a bit of random storage, but I have some big plans for here pretty soon. In front of the door we have this little cart. The top layer contains all the dry food I would need, some calcium powder, some basic cleaning stuff. Underneath we have some water conditioners, some medicine, some aquascaping tools, and all the way at the bottom we have this random drawer with a big syringe, some towels, some sponges, super glue, just some other stuff I want to keep close, but I can't really organize it in here. As you can see, the entire cart is very messy. I plan on customizing it, you know, hooks for all the aquascaping tools on the side, some more dividers in there, just some stuff to make this super streamlined and make sure it can hold everything I need for maintaining these setups. But in such a way that it won't get messy over time. But enough about the cart, I want to know what's behind these doors. It's just a ton of propagation underneath here. All the way on the left I have some power strips with individual switches for each socket, which is really nice for turning off a filter or something. As far as the bins go, of the first door we have a little bit of hairgrass, propagating Rosala and Hybrophilia, propagating some vining plants, more aquatic plants. These are some trident Java ferns, and one plant quarantine box. Behind the second door we have more aquatic plants, some propagation of a Fittonia, and I lost the name for this one, but it's the same one that's a ton of times here, there, on the land area, back there, here in the water, over there. You get the idea, it's in there a lot. I also have this one. This used to be sphagnum moss propagation, but I spread it too much and it's now filled up with mold. The same goes for this one. It used to be full of oak-leaf creeping fig, but the mold took over, and luckily I got most of it out and moved it to another bin, but yeah, I should throw this away. And these 4 boxes are all moss. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And for those that are wondering, this is the drain for the land area of the turtle Paludarium. And behind the last door I keep feeder animals in the front here, an isopod culture back there, springtail cultures in there. Up here I propagate some aquatic mosses, and in the cups underneath all of them some more Java fern. And all the way on the right here I am trying to grow my own ferns. There are now 10 of these boxes left, but there used to be around 30 of them. So I've been growing these since August of 2020. And I think next spring I will finally be able to grow the ferns outside of these boxes. And that's about it for this one. Okay, I can't really open them because there's a bucket in the way, but behind this door is just some cleaning equipment and a few cork rounds for future projects. And finally we're here with the bucket. In this bucket we have, let's see if you can spot them. All 6 of them are visible in this shot. It's a species of shrimp that I will be putting in the setup that will be right over here. And these bags in here are of course pre-cycled media, so the shrimp will be fine in there. That's about it for this video. I really hope you liked it. If you did, please hit the like button. I have a lot of cool things planned for 2023, including the card and all the Paludarium, rescaping both of the aquariums, so stay tuned for all of that. Let me know in the comments which of the setups was your favorite and what you would like to see in 2023. And that's about it. Until next time.